Hello, everybody. My name's Enrique, and this is.
Linda.
And today we're going to be talking about side hustles in the US. But first, honey, let's do a podcast. Hello, everybody. Welcome back again to Honey, Let's Do a Podcast. I am your host, Enrique, and today we have my lovely wife, Linda.
Hi, how are you guys?
And we've been having a little hiatus lately, but we're back. And today we're going to be talking about a great subject, kind of a subject that's pretty has gone recently up the last couple of years. It's about people or Americans, or pretty much, I think worldwide this is happening. But we're going to be specifying on the U.S. and Americans have been doing a lot more side hustles lately, trying to get an extra job on the side apart from their main job, and just to get a little more finance, more income into the household, and to deal with the growing inflation that has been going on since the pandemic. And yeah, we're going to be diving a little bit into it. I think Linda has a couple of statistics to share here.
Yes. So the first statistics were generally speaking, in the last 10 years, the average is around 2 to 3%.
I think around 2.8 or
Yeah.
somewhere around there.
Yeah, somewhere around there is the average inflation per year. But during the last 4 years, specifically after the pandemic or during the pandemic, specifically
I think
2022 and 2021.
Yeah.
For 2021, the inflation rate was 4.7,
Yeah, 4.7%.
and for 2022 was 8%, which is a huge increase in inflation.
And we're talking here about the average. And if you look at the graphs and you go to a US and the inflation rates, and there's a couple websites that can tell you this. But if you go to the graphs, you can see that in 2019, which is kind of like at the end of 2019, that's when the COVID started and the pandemic. It was around 2% end of the year inflation, right? And
Which
the
is on
average
the
for that year.
average.
And that's more or less the
Yeah,
average.
that's
And
the
then
normal situation.
It actually lowered in 2020, which is kind of like that first year of the boom of the pandemic was 2020. It actually lowered that year, and then it just spiked out of control in 2022. And that's when I think when people started going back to work more regularly in 2021, sorry, 20 not 2020, 2021. That's when people started going back to work. Normally 2020 was that year that nobody was working, everybody was like grabbing to get the government aids and all that stuff. But that year actually went down, and then the next year where people started working, that's where it kind of spiked up towards the end of December. I think it had the highest one of 7%, and then it just kept going up on 2022. I think it got up to a point. I think there was a month that it went up to 9% in a month, and then it kind of started going down. And if you see the trend now, it appears to be going down this year. I think the last November it was 3.2%, and we'll see what December happens, right? But I think it's starting to go down because that spike that we had during the pandemic it's kind of dwindling. So hopefully it kind of balances out. But because of that, it opened the eyes to a lot of people that, hey, we need extra ways to make income. I mean, it was going, so people were having a lot of, apart from just not being able to work as much with the pandemic, and some
A lot of people lost their
some
jobs.
people lost their job. At least people started, hey, we need to somehow make money. And then the problem and I was talking to my wife about this the other day, is that the problem that a lot of times you have is that inflation goes up, prices go up, most of the things, but then
But the salary
the
is
income
not.
doesn't go up.
Yeah.
Exactly. Your salary doesn't necessarily go up to match it. So you're basically stuck like, oh, what do I do? Like, because everything goes up, my mortgage, my property tax, whatever, the obviously the groceries, going out, if you were out going out to eat before, that goes, restaurants raise up the prices, the auto payments, whatever it is, the auto goes up, the electricity goes up, the water bill goes up, everything's going up, but you're still making the same amount you were making before.
Or if you got an increase, it was not substantial to compensate for that increase for base of on the inflation. So it's not balancing. You're actually gaining less money for the same work that you're performing.
That made a lot of Americans starting to look for alternatives, which is what people call the side hustle, right? It's just alternatives to their main job. And actually, based on geobanking rates, they reported that in November this year, there was around 38% of people in the U.S. that are already engaging in side hustles.
What's the percentage again?
let me check, 38.2%.
That's a big number, guys. That's
And
a
then
big number of Americans that are working on two or more jobs
and
because
and
they need to pay the
and get
bills.
this, get this. So according to then LinkedIn,
LinkedIn. Yeah.
yeah, they made another another survey or report
Mm-hmm.
that they actually said that around 50%, not 38.2, around 50% of Americans are already engaging in side hustles. That's half.
That's half of the
And
people.
what's even more crazy, it's that 62% of them, out of those 50, there's 60%, are making more than $100,000.
Which is great
So
because
it's
there is
what
both
base.
is helping the
No,
economy.
what I'm basically saying is that 62% are not from are what they consider middle high class, or
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
it's not when so most of these people are not, what are the ones that you would say, oh, they're like, I don't know, more into the
Middle
lower
class.
class, or that they're not making a lot of money. No, these are a lot of people at middle high class.
They can
They're the
sustain
ones
their
going
families.
for more side hustle.
Mm-hmm.
And they're saying that this is actually contributing to around 50 billion in additional revenue for the American each month. So that's crazy.
It is crazy. It is just amazing how all this shift that it was actually created by the pandemic. It was not the intention, but because of all this shift in the financial aspect, people have to recur to different options to keep paying their bills, and hopefully, well, one might substitute the original job. And that might not be the original plan, but it
Yeah.
might happen if they are still gaining their side hustle more money than what they were gaining in their original traditional job.
I think part of the reason, again, these are based on surveys and based on, reports that have been coming out, that one of the reasons that people started going into the side hustles and getting extra forms of incomes apart from their main job was because also they had a lot more time. A lot of people started working from home.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of people started, not going to their office and just staying at the house. And what happens? You got more time to do stuff because, now you're at, you don't have that commute, you don't have this, you have a little extra more time to start engaging in other things, right? And also, and I talked to you about this the other day. I think the growing, because the pandemic did a lot of bad things, but I think it also
Did a
started a
lot of
lot of
good
good
things.
things
Yes.
because with the pandemic, a lot of people started going into more. I mean, it was growing before, but I think it even boomed more, the social media thing.
Mm-hmm.
And nowadays, there's a lot of forms that you can make money through social media. You see a lot of like young people started doing
I
it
would
now.
say not necessarily social media, but internet
Well, I'm internet, but
itself. Anything that is internet could be.
I'm saying they use the social because I'm not saying about just you're a TikTok star or something. I'm not talking about that. There are right. There are a couple of them. There are a couple of people who do the YouTube. They're really successful, or Instagram, whatever it is. But I'm not talking about that specifically. But using that as a platform to, if they have something, let's say they do have a business, they started a business, right? Start
Mm-hmm.
an online business. Maybe they started an Etsy shop and they're selling, I don't know, like stuff through Etsy, or
Mm-hmm.
they started another gig with art and they're selling art somewhere else. But then they use social media, Instagram, TikTok, all this to market it.
That is
So
correct.
what I'm saying, everything's connected. They started making ways to connect everything to allow them to make an easier way to make money
To connect with people.
and to sell their product.
Yes.
You see?
Mm-hmm.
So the pandemic brought that because you had so much time where you just what else do you have to do to just be in the internet? Be in the internet. There's nothing else to do.
Well, some people are also looking for self care and other stuff, but
Well,
I can
but I'm
understand your
saying, but
point.
most of the
Yes.
people were on their phone, computer, internet because you couldn't go out of the house. So it developed a thing where that's the only you started finding other things to do, started looking at videos, started doing this. Oh, let me try to see if I can start making this happen too.
Mm-hmm.
This guy started doing this in the pandemic, and a lot of people started trying out all these ways of social media and everything to try to make some money on the side or learn a new craft. And they started studying about, oh, let me see if I can learn how to be, I don't know, play music or whatever. And I don't know, like different things that people started engaging because they just had the extra time to do them.
Well, that
right?
and they might also be a layoff, and they will just force to just look for another option.
Yeah, yeah. I think the pandemic did the boom to
Yes,
grow the trend of
that is
the
correct.
side hustles.
I agree.
People started running out of the pandemic era savings, the tax credits, all that started to, started to go off. So
Mm-hmm.
let's say people were having their job, but they were having the tax credits or the government issued some help to, to help people, but that was only for a certain, maybe 12 months or something. So once that started to subside, people were like, okay, now
What do I do?
we need more money now because that's the money's not going to keep coming for an eternity, right? So we
Mm-hmm.
need to do something. And like I said, prices kept going up, so they spiked up, and you started to find ways to support.
And I
And
think another thing that happened on the pandemic is, we had the baby boomers, but then we have the after pandemic boomers, which is
what's
the
the name of that?
I'm not sure yet.
I gotta look into
I'm
that.
not sure if after pandemic boomers, after COVID boomers, I'm not sure if there is a word for it, but it's pretty much the kids that were born as a result of the pandemic, like my baby. I also have other friends that they had their baby during COVID. So
By the way, I found out the name. It's called the Gen Z.
Gen Z,
Yeah, those
like
are
as a
the.
C
Yeah, I'm guessing the C for COVID,
for COVID. Okay,
but I mean
that does
that's
make sense.
that's what they're calling them, Gen Z for the babies born
During the
during
pandemic,
that period. And I'm guessing it's probably usually those things are like 10 years. It's like stretch of
usually,
10 years.
yeah,
So it's
usually,
probably gonna be like what 2020 to 2030 or something. I
yeah,
don't know.
probably.
I haven't checked that part, but I know they do call them Gen Z. So yeah.
So that there's a lot of babies that are grow during that period of the COVID, and was also another fact for people to look for other sources of income, because now you are, let's assume that in our case it was just the two of us and we can be easily sustained with our finances, but now we have another baby, and babies are very expensive in the United States, if especially if you don't have insurance. But even if you have insurance, it's quite expensive to have a baby in the United States if you are typical middle class people. So that's another fact that motivates people to look for a side hustle, because now you have a little person that is depending on you, and you want to make sure that you are giving the best to that person, which in our case will be our baby, but for other people also have their families, and I'm sure they want the best for them. And that's just another factor that helps make the decision of these people. Now we have financial need, and now we have also a family to, a growing family to keep healthy, safe, and educated, and all those things that comes with it. So that also is a factor.
Actually, I'm gonna use this subject because I think in our case, Linda actually started a side hustle herself. This is something she was planning for a long time, but I think you kind of started it during the pandemic,
I
or
started
was
it
it towards the end?
towards the end of the pandemic.
Yeah, but she kind of take took the leap during the pandemic, towards that, like we talked. I think it was like 2022,
2022.
2022.
Yeah,
You
towards the
started
end.
it. So she started her whole company selling products on Amazon.
Amazon,
Amazon,
yes.
and that's another form that you can use, that a lot of people are using to, selling stuff, whether it's through Amazon, like I gave you another option, through Etsy, through,
Gigs.
personally.
Mm-hmm.
You probably know a couple of them,
Oh yeah, for sure.
that you can sell stuff. But because there's a lot of talented people out there that have all these different skills, whether they create it or they can sketch it, and then they send it to somebody else to do it, and then that other person, fabric, manufactures it, whatever, and then you sell it.
Mm-hmm.
So there's a lot of people out there, great ideas out there, and I think the pandemic, or that motivation to make extra money, started making you be more creative and
Mm-hmm.
starting to come up with more ways, thinking, okay, I can do this, or I can do this. Oh, hey,
Explore something
or
new.
maybe a friend of you say, hey, this, you gave me this the other day. This is awesome. Like, I really like, this is really cool. And then you're like, okay, so he likes it or she likes it. Maybe more people like it.
Or
So
you
let me,
discover, you realize that there is a need of something, and that something is not available, and you just decided to create it from scratch because you are like, oh, I don't know why this doesn't exist. This should be out there. And nobody has thought about it. So you thought about it, but you also took action and made it a reality to solve a problem to somebody else. And you're solving your problem, but you're also solving the problem for thousands of people. So that's also a very good one. It doesn't have to be something physical, like a product from Amazon. It could be a ebook. It could be a Kindle. It could be an art, like a Word document, or it could be uh, information like essays or presentations or
Like for us when we started the podcast, we went to, what was that, Fiverr? Was that?
Fiverr.
So we
Yes.
went to Fiverr to help to get somebody to help us with the artwork for like the podcast cover. So that little artwork that you guys see, that is like a caricature of us, or what's that how you say it? Art, like kind of like cartoonish
Mm-hmm.
that we have at the beginning. That was made by somebody in Fiverr, and a lot of people who have
Side hustles. They
these type
are
of like
gigs.
abilities, or they have really good knowledge of something, or creative or whatever, they do go to those websites like Fiverr to just help out or sell what they know, sell it and have somebody come out to me, hey, I need a project on this, can you do this? Yeah, I can do it for you, it'll be this much, whatever. So they sell their knowledge through there, right? There's
Yeah, I
other.
actually wish I knew this when I was in college, to be honest, because I would have probably created a Fiverr gig or something like
Oh yeah,
that.
because a lot of people who are studying also have, yes, you're busy with schoolwork, but you do have more time that when you
Yeah.
older and you have the job and you have to, maybe kids or whatever. So you do
Mm-hmm.
have more time when you're in college. So a lot of people you meet who do these things are younger, right? Same with the thing with TikTok and all that. It's popping off, all that, and most of the people who pop off are younger
Yes.
because again, they know how to use it. They're more involved in what's trending right now and all that. So
And
it
they have a
helps.
little bit more time as well to spend on all the things that benefit. Like for us right now, it's really hard
Yeah, yeah, it's
because
it's
we're
it's
very
difficult.
busy.
But not that we, touched up on the subject that we about the finances in the U.S. and the inflation and things that Americans have to go through. Let's actually talk about our situation, right? And I kind of like started it talking about Linda's
Side hustles.
Amazon,
Mm-hmm.
seller. What's that
Bus-
called?
oh,
Amazon what?
Amazon seller account.
Yeah, you started selling.
Amazon business, let's call it like that.
She started, having a company, and then she started doing products, and she's talking to manufacturers. I think she has a couple in China. Is it?
Yeah, most of them, well, all of them right now are in China, but you can find them in the United States, in Mexico,
It just
in
depends. You got to
Europe.
look at prices. What's
Yeah,
better for you.
they're-
What can you pay? What can you not
exactly.
pay? So, but you can check anywhere and just see prices, see what works for you.
Hmm.
But basically, she started this like we said a little while ago, 2022, late 2022, or was it
My
no?
first product was this year, actually.
Yeah, but you started the whole thing late
Yeah, the
2022, and
company.
you
Yeah,
launched this year.
yeah.
Yeah. But so now, I wanted to ask her, because obviously this is something that maybe you guys are interested in doing, or you've heard about people doing it. I'm not talking about this in particular, but just the whole thing about starting something because A, you want to make more money, which is normally what's
The main
the
driver.
main driver.
Mm-hmm.
But also B, you could be just looking for a way to go out of your like static zone that you're in right now. Maybe you're in a job and you don't really like it that much, or you don't really like to be having to drive, or 8 to 5, or starting at a certain hour, ending at a certain hour, and all the pain, or maybe you have a boss and it's annoying. I don't know, whatever it is, and you just want a little like something different where
Mm-hmm.
you're more in control of it and you can decide what to do. Obviously, it's going to be that doesn't make it easier, because that's what one of the questions I was going to ask Linda. But it just makes it a little more like it's yours. Maybe you grow in love with it more.
Mm-hmm.
Like it's different when something is yours and you care about it than when it's somebody else's and you're just working to make money out of it, just
Yeah.
for salary.
Just think about if you have a car and it's your car versus when you're renting the car, the treatment is not the same.
Yeah, you don't give a shit about the rental car. Maybe you do give a shit just because you're gonna pay for it if you mess it up,
Yeah.
but you don't really care about it really. But your car, you're probably gonna wash it. You clean it up all the time. You wax it, all that stuff. So you're more protective of it.
Yes.
But let's go back to this. So Linda,
Hmm.
you guys started the whole thing in 2022. You guys made the first launch in 2023. How has been the experience so far?
Uh, just to be honest, to start is we didn't know anything. We started from scratch. We had no idea what we were doing. We got some courses that they were help us to get an understanding of how to do it. But it's not easy to start. At least it was not for us easy to start. But we are quite determined. We know what we want, and we know that we want to get there. It's just a matter of we need to. I think for us, the most difficult part, besides the learning experience, which is going to take years, probably. I will probably like
Yeah, I
there
mean,
will really never end. But the first years are the hardest. And also the another hard thing for us is the time because my partner is also my best friend, and she have kids, two girls, and I have one girl. So we have to manage, and we both work on different companies. She also have another company, and I work for another company that is not mine, but I'm just an employee there. And so, how do we manage our time to have the responsibility of this full-time job, then taking care properly our kids, make sure that they are fine, make sure that we address all of their needs and beyond. And when they are asleep, then we start working on our business. And how do we have the time to how do we manage that time to work on everything? That is a challenge, especially at the beginning years. um, but we are so determined. We really, really like what we do. For us, we are in our case is not obviously there is a money factor, and there's always some kind of money factor. But in our case, I always wanted to do a business, and we saw a specific need, and we wanted to solve that problem. So in our case, I'm just going to talk about my business a little bit. My business is about baby toys that are modern looking, that are very educational, but they look good. So the challenge that I have when I had my daughter and I was searching for toys, it was that most of the toys are ugly. They are horrendous. And I have a very nice, modern, good looking house. I just don't want to have those ugly toys all over my house. So finding good looking toys are very educational, Montessori toys or something like that is extremely challenging, and they are typically very expensive. So I the need that I saw was that there are really no toys, very difficult to find toys that are very good looking, very stylish, very educational, that exceed that help that kid develops properly, and they are affordable. That was the main challenge. So I was like, well, that doesn't exist there. Maybe I can create it. And that's how my company started.
And one more question, or I've got a couple more, but the next question: how many mistakes have you guys made so far?
Many mistakes. And I think that we are going to continue to make mistakes, but that's exactly how we are
And
learning.
just so you can explain to the people how difficult this is, how many times has it crossed your mind about quitting?
To be honest, not yet. I,
No, but I'm just saying because it's a real question, right?
it is a
This
real
is gonna come
question.
up to a lot of people.
I think the one thing that I am concerned is that I fail. Well, there might be a chance that I fail. I will lose a lot of money. Uh, but I think I am so determined that I
Yeah.
think I will keep going even if I fail. Even if I fail, I will start all over again and try again. It's like when I was taking my test for architecture. I failed some of those tests, and I didn't quit. I try again,
And right now
and eventually I did pass
you
all
guys
of
are in
them.
the verge of putting product number 2 out, right? Soon.
Yeah, we product number 2 is on the way to Amazon right now. We finished the design. The first product was a complete disaster. I'm not going to lie to you. It was a gigantic disaster. I have very good hopes for product number 2, mainly because we design a lot of it and because it's a very highly educational toy, and because it is better than what is out there. So I have really big hopes for this toy. It looks really good, and it's going to be on a relatively affordable price. It's not going to be super cheap. I'm not going to lie to you, but it's not going to be like Pottery Barn level of expensive or Restoration Hardware level of expensive. So it's just going to be it's still affordable, but not super cheap.
And can you please, I'll put this in the video too, but can you please tell them, because we've been talking about it, what's the name of it, of the company?
The name of my company is called Bebé Moderno, and is modern baby in Spanish.
Yeah.
And it's pretty much that. It's like the
And
toys
I'll
are
put it up in the, if you're watching this on YouTube, I'll put it up in the video.
yes. So it's pretty much a company that it will be educational toys that are stylish, are good looking. They are highly educational. They will exceed the traditional toys, and they are a reasonable price. They are affordable for middle class, just like us, people like us. And that's how everything started, and I hope I can keep it that way.
And basically, again, this is not a video about that, but what I wanted to come up with this is that my wife started this, and kind of like why I wanted to ask her these questions is because maybe if you guys are thinking about starting this, understand that you might be a 1% lucky person and everything goes perfectly from the start, but 98% of chances are that you're going to have a rough patch at the beginning,
99% of
or
chance.
99, whatever. I'm giving you an estimate, right? It's a high likelihood that you're going to have a rough patch starting. And again, my wife hasn't really come out of that rough patch yet, but she knows that
It's part of it.
it's part of it.
of the process.
And think about it. A lot of these successful companies that you hear about, the
Apple
and all these billion-dollar
Google,
people, that billion
all of
dollar,
them.
a lot of them started and had a lot of failures
Yeah,
before
Apple
they had
started
their
in the
big,
garage.
well, the
And
garage.
Google
But I'm
too.
talking, a lot of these people had failures,
Oh,
and
yes.
they lost a lot of money, right, on it. But then they had one that just popped off, and then obviously they started to understand better from failures. Okay, what do I need to do different in the next one? Okay, cool. I'll change this up. But if you never give yourself the chance to try,
Mm-hmm.
you never will know if you can do it or not, right? So you at least have to try to then understand, okay, it didn't work out, or it did work out, or maybe it's not working out and I can make it work. But what we're trying to enforce is, or not enforce, support you guys to do, or encourage you guys to do, is to go out there and be creative and come up with ways. There's a lot of options from Amazon. We gave you a bunch. We've talked about a couple now, but there's even more out there. There's way more. Like a lot of websites where you can what are these websites that you can actually give classes and lessons? I know there's the websites out there.
Yeah, there
for
are.
that.
That's another side hustle actually.
Yeah, and that you can do classes
Yeah,
about a
there
certain
are
subject.
courses. There are courses about everything.
Photography. I don't know, whatever it is. Fiber. These are just a couple of them, right? There's websites to sell stuff when you create it, and then you just sell it through them. There's like the middleman, like Amazon. You can do a personal website. You can do your own website and use social media to market it. Maybe you have a big following already on social media. Maybe you're a person that's a big fitness maniac, right? You love to be in the gym, and you have a lot of you have a lot of following in the gym, and you have a lot of Instagram people. Then you can start doing extra stuff, classes, whatever.
You can
and
do
use
a
your
course, an
Instagram,
online course. That would be
use your
great.
Instagram with all those followers. You have to start promoting. Maybe you start promoting brands or whatever. I don't know. There's a protein brand, and you start promoting their brand. I mean, there's a lot of things out there that you can do. You just have to think about it a little bit. What
Hmm.
do you like? Because obviously you gotta like what you're gonna do.
Yeah, I
Because
think that's the
if you
key.
hate it, yeah, if you
That's the
hate
key.
it, there's no point, right?
Yeah,
Why
no.
do it?
Do
You have
something that you like, because this man, and that's something that I really like about my business is that I enjoy every moment of it. It is tedious, it is hard work, it is a very unknown process in my life, but I enjoy it so much. It is. I will not change it under any circumstance because I do enjoy it, and I think that's the most important. This side hustle is not to okay, it's going to bring you some financial benefit, but the idea is to bring you more than just a financial benefit. It, to also bring you life and to make you a richer person in more than just the financial area, but also the spiritual area and the knowledge area. So it's just going to elevate you in so many ways beyond the financial aspect.
based on that what we've given you guys today. I think that's mainly what we wanted to speak about and what we wanted to like come across today as our information is about the necessities that lately Americans have had, and why if you're not a person that's already doing it, why we really can want to make you consider the option of engaging in it, because you'll really benefit not just economically, but maybe you benefit different ways by finding more time, which time is precious and time doesn't have any money to it. Time is like I don't
It's
know,
the
like
most valuable thing in the
yeah, it's
world
just
is
more
time.
valuable. So maybe you find more time that you can have maybe with the family,
Hmm.
maybe the travel, whatever it is, right? Apart from financial. So we really want to encourage you guys to go out there, and if you're already doing it, maybe how to make it better or how to even improve it. If you're not doing it, maybe start to think about engaging and start doing it. And if you're on the cusp of doing it, to just go for it, and just go and let's do it. Let's give it a go, and let's see, and let's give it our best, and hopefully, you know, we can make this go and get positive with it.
Also, when you fail, because you will fail at some point, try again, because that try again is with experience. So you now know what doesn't work the first time. So you already know I cannot try that. Just think about what's the name of the person that invented the light?
Thomas Edison.
Yeah, Thomas Edison. So he failed more than 100 times, I think more than 1,000 times before he invented the light. And now everybody can enjoy the light with his invention of all of those failures. So he knew 1,000 ways of how electricity will not work or how the light will not work. One more thing is just to think about the why. Why are you doing that side hustle? And keep in mind all the way, like when you're going through that why, always in your mind, because there's going to be some times that you will probably want to quit. It hasn't happened to me, but you might think about it to quit, and then you think about that why, and that give you that drive, that motivation that you need to continue.
With that said, let's end it here today. I think we just wanted to do a quick one to talk about this subject. Again, we have our Instagram. You can follow us there. We have our YouTube. You can hear us on Apple Music. You can hear us, I mean, on Apple Podcast, on Spotify. We're also on Amazon, if I'm not mistaken. And we'll be here. We'll try to get back to every Wednesday. I know we've missed a couple. Had family in town, made it a little bit difficult to keep posting these last couple weeks. But we're going to try to get back into a regular schedule. So look forward to it next Wednesday. That subject's going to be hidden. We're not going to tell you. You're going to have to wait for that day. But until next Wednesday, my name's Enrique. This is Linda. And we hope you have a wonderful day. And we'll see you then.
Bye.
Bye.